Now, you say that there are no absolutes except some very rare occasions, and you're completely right about that. In fact, my motto in life is that everything is a lie. So there is no truth. Every single thing is a lie. Chemicals can only act in a certain way. There's no way that a chemical can act in any other way. So if you understood all chemistry down to the atomic level, you'd be able to predict the future. Obviously impossible to do, or near impossible to do, but it can be done, and I think people have the ability to do it. I would assume it's the Kabbalists, which is the inner religion of the Jewish rabbis. And I have this theory that there will be a third Reformation. The first Reformation was when Constantine Christianized the Roman Empire. The second Reformation was with the false prophet Martin Luther. And now I think there might be a third Reformation, which is where the rabbis, and especially the Kabbalists, start using their knowledge of the scriptures, interpreting those things which enable them to tell the future. Like on The Simpsons, they use it on The Simpsons. Simpsons, remember, are Jews, and they're all mathematicians. So this is how they keep telling the future using this Kabbalistic formula. But this is theoretical territory now, okay? I don't really want to get into that too much. So my guess is that if the Kabbalists move on from the Old Testament, they've been trying to deny the New Testament, and they completely brainwashed all Jews that Christians are anti-Semites. And that the whole Jesus thing was a lie. But if they take the Christian writings, the New Testament, and start applying their Kabbalistic formulae and calculations to it, they'll suddenly realize, or maybe if AI does it, AI will probably do it, they'll suddenly realize that Jesus, the New Testament thing, is actually the key to unlocking all the secrets that they've been trying to unlock for thousands of years. So I wouldn't be surprised if that happened, and I wouldn't be surprised if that was a major part in sparking a global revival, a third Reformation. So yes, there are no absolutes, and everyone has their own beliefs, and I don't judge people for their beliefs because I know that everybody's wrong anyway. However, I think I've told this to you before, and I think you need to realize, and I think all of us need to, but I'm directing this at you, is that we live in a fantasy world. I mean, everything we have is stuff that people have never had in history. Electricity, running water, sewers, flushable toilets, cars, airplanes, all this convenient stuff. And now we've got these magical devices like cell phones. You can look at it as human progress. That's if you're naive. But if you're paranoid or skeptical like me, you can look at it as the end game, the last part of the plan. So once they brainwashed the whole world for like more than 1,000 years into how Christianity should be to be figured, they then transformed it in through the Reformation. That was through the Catholic Church. Then through the Reformation, they transferred it into something that's accessible to everybody. There's a freedom in it. There's a Bible. That's why education became a thing. The Bible was the first mass-produced book in the world, which was why Peterson is so obsessed with it, and why it is a foundational piece of literature. So people can be saved by their good works, and people will be saved by their good works. People will be saved by the things they do. Many Christians who say to Jesus that they did many great things in his name, Jesus said that he'll say to them, I don't know you. You just get away from me. So a lot of Christians will be wrong, and a lot of people who weren't Christians will actually be accepted simply based on the fact that they were good people. However, since we are in the end game, there is no more place for half measures. So in this dangerous world that we live in now, with the most crazy things going on, with psychological manipulation happening at an extreme level through things like feminism and religion and such things, and atheism. What's happening then is that we've been played. So it's take for example the abortion argument. Like, if you got all these feminists, right? You got them all involved in your cults because you made them feel special. It's basically just a religion. You made them identify men as evil. You gave them all these reasons to be evil, but put some nice scientific terms to it, some nice academic terms to it, and not actually consider the basic things like love and forgiveness and empathy and so on. So now it's all about women's rights. So now they're telling women you have the right over your own body, so it means you can commit an abortion. Now, in absolute reality, right, this is something that should cause absolute guilt. And before God, it'll be something judged as something evil, right? Because it's a species that are so clever that they found a reason to stop the next generations from coming into the world and taking the process of reproduction so lightly. So what happens is that you now take a religion and then you hide a super evil, something that should cause super guilt underneath it. And so what happens is, if you start removing the religion, right, which basically the religion has been pushed by the internet, so the internet can change at any moment. So once that starts changing, and people for whatever reason start feeling guilty, that super guilt that's hiding down there that you've been covering up with your beliefs and your emotions, that's going to explode, right? All those women saying that it's your right to have an abortion, if a guilt trip happens, like at the mission, they have this super guilt, fear of God thing, that immense guilt bomb that's hiding underneath them will be so powerful that they're all going to run to Jesus. And that's what I'm saying. That figure of the Savior who can save you from yourself, who can save you from doing the most horrible things that you've done, that you did in ignorance and in your beliefs of lies just because it made you feel good about yourself. So, as I was saying, it's genetic. All these things are genetic. And so why they had to create the Christian Jesus, which is not the real biblical Jesus, and they had to put all these Christological and Trinitarian and Theotokos, the God-bearer, the mother of God figures in there, is because those things were also part of the genetic markers for accessing high consciousness. So they didn't want people to know the true Jesus. They just wanted you to know a version of Jesus. And so if you get people to believe that version of Jesus, then you can control them. So now that they've got people to believe in lies, and then that they've hidden a super guilt inside them, it is going to have to cause, it's inevitable that it'll cause people to become so guilty, especially women or feminists, that they will eventually turn to Jesus as well. So all this stuff is set up. Again, I'm saying this is theoretical territory, but it's all set up for a move back to Christianity. And that's why I say your good works are not going to help you now, because you don't know anything. You're ignorant. That's why there's law. Law protects you from doing the evil that you're ignorant of. And so we're completely ignorant. And when a guilt surge happens inside you, like they have at KSP with under Erlo, and Erlo I think was one of the 70 shepherds, the evil shepherds. When that happens, then there'll be a mass awakening.